Good afternoon, everybody. It is 12:59 p.m. 24th of September, first day of the trade week. Except for cryptos, we never have a rest. We never have a break. I cannot believe it is already September 24th, man. Let's go. All right. Well, we had quite a bit of activity and movement last week. That is not a shocker. Let's just take a little quick review of that. You can see that we've had 2 weeks of positive movement, but we still did not crack above the beginning of September's high, which was 74.02. That's a bit of a distance still from where we're at. Can we get there? Absolutely. The volume has gotten a little bit bigger. Certainly last week's close, we had more volume than the prior. But beginning of September's volume was higher and the drop was more substantial. So we've got this recovery going on here, possibly, probably. Looking at the oscillators here on the weekly, we're pretty flat in any direction that you want to look. This is about as flat can be. In fact, putting the Bollingers on here, we've entered into squeeze territory really back in June. And that is currently where we're kind of sitting, and we should anticipate a nice a breakout of this very soon. Today, we're going over the Coinbase 5, as I call them. They are the 5 cryptocurrencies that Coinbase has publicly said that they are looking at considering to add to their platform. Doing a little bit more reading and investigating, and it's very probable that some of these will be added before November. That, you get more folks. Coinbase, actually, all these crypto exchanges, they've been on a hiring spree in the midst of a bear market. That should tell you something. Coinbase has hired a whole bunch more people because if you remember last year, if you were one of the people that had some difficulty getting an account opened, like on Coinbase or on Bittrex, it was almost impossible. The only way that they would do it is if you had a institutional account. So keep your eyes open for that. Now, looking at the current activity and what we've got going on here. So we had a pretty nice drive up from the 17th through the 21st. And we had a pretty good drive up there where, really basically on Friday we started to see profit taking from Friday through Sunday. And then ultimately between this morning and right now we are catching a little higher here. We are seeing some price action go back up. We've encountered overbought conditions. This is the 4-hour chart for Bitcoin. Encountered positive buying conditions on the composite index, and we are seeing the oversold conditions on the stochastic RSI. Now, this is something of a good thing to see here, is that if we see the buying stepping in on something like the stochastic RSI, which is a more sensitive oscillator, not as sensitive as regular stochastics, but it's still sensitive. If we see it really do a nice drive up from here and we see responses from sitting in the oversold condition, that's a good pretext for a market that is going to turn bullish, because when we've been in an oversold market, we know that any response to, if we go back in the past here, whenever we've had an overbought condition, it has promptly sold off pretty heavily, and that in a overbought condition, we've had a kind of a weak response to that. So what we've got going on here, looking at Bitcoin, is kind of just like looking at an ETF of the entire market. We've got a bull flag going on here. That's all that's really happening. And we could cross above this pretty easily, get across 67.50. That would yield a pretty nice breakout. But anyways, on to the Coinbase 5. That's Cardano, Basic Attention Token, Stellar Lumens, Zcash, and ZRX. There's something funky about those coins because they have been outperforming the broader market at some point over the last week. Cardano certainly has done very well. XLM has done very, very well. And ZRX has done extremely well. It is still doing very, very well. I actually posted an idea on this on ZRX on the 20th. So that was on, excuse me, on Thursday. Posted this idea that, you know, and we talked about this last week too, that we're getting to the center of this cycle here, and that prices are near its major swing lows. We're within the 90 to 99 day Gann cycle. Prices have a high probability of reversing at this level, retracing at least 150% of the current value, which is a violent move higher. Hit the play button. There we are sitting right now. We are approaching this zone right here. This is a square of price and time, and this is like an accelerant. This should be a pretty good. You're worried about the low volume? It's the weekend, so the volume is something that is you almost don't want to really take into account very much, because either direction it'll most likely be with the trend of sorts. If we can break above this 1x5, that is freaking crazy, because this is a very, very strong rejection line. I mean, if it blasts through this, that'll be nuts. So ZRX doing very, very well. I don't know what the fundamentals are on it. I just know the technicals are pointing in this direction. So pay attention to that. Zcash also doing very well today, oddly. I've had a buy signal waiting up, higher up, and I just actually literally took a position not shortly before this popped open. I'm just to prove I'm not talking out of my ass. ZEC, I did a buy at ZEC, got in at 1936, 10:35 in the morning. And that was before we had this nice little launch up. Where are we at? 10. Oh, because I'm looking at the US dollar pair. Anyways, oops. I feel all the coins which are supposed to be added to Coinbase are going up. Yeah, they definitely are, Santosh. I noticing that these are getting a lot of activity behind the scenes and a lot of accumulation. I really encourage everybody to pay attention to Cardano, basic attention token, XLM, ZEC, and ZRX, because they are catching a big amount of drives here, and the volume has been steadily growing in them. Actually, the ones that are kind of lagging behind the whole bunch out of those three, so Cardano's doing very well, ZRX is doing very well, XLM is doing very well. Basic attention token has not really caught on to a bigger drive up yet. We can see that if we compare basic attention tokens performance to ZEC, ZRX, Cardano, and all those, it's still lagging here. It's got a pretty nice, I mean, it won't take much to drive this higher. It's still in a somewhat structural bull flag, but basic attention token's certainly not getting the same amount of love as its Coinbase 5 peers. So it's lagging. This one's a good like get in early before the pump. That's where it's sitting at right now. And then Zcash, just today, it's finally got its little move here, but it still is lagging performance-wise against its Coinbase 5 peers. So yeah, a lot of these Cardano, basic attention token, ADA, BAT, XLM, ZEC, and ZRX are all getting a nice amount of activity. And some of them have pulled back, like Cardano had a little bit of pullback over the weekend and into today, but it looks like we're catching a little bit of a bid here and maybe moving higher. We'll see what happens if we can cross above that 90 to 91 cents zone. That would be an area to be looking at. XLM, I mean, XLM just like shot up like crazy last week. I mean, it was just like going the same direction as Ripple was, and we'll get to Ripple here in a second. But there's a couple trend lines on this bull flag pattern that need to get broken. The first one looks like we're breaking here. The next one is certainly sitting right here at like 28 to 29. I've got, if I don't know if you saw that, I had some buy orders sitting at I have a stop limit triggered at 28, and another one for Cardano at 0.085, and those are sitting there. What's really nice to see is on the Ichimoku system, if I'm looking at Ethereum for an example, is that on the daily charts, it is finding support at the baseline. So we've held above the baseline on the daily for 4 days, which is nice. We tested lower, but we're still holding above it. On the 4-hour chart, beautiful response. This is textbook support being found on the baseline here. And then on the hourly, really not much to look at. It looks pretty rangy right here. So nice to see a lot of this. Oh, Bitcoin's actually catching a nice little drive. So 66.51 is where we're presently at. This has all the marks of a continuation, and I tell you what, if we see this happen on the 4-hour, if we see a break above, if we get back to like 6,700 here, and if we get to like 6,800 within today and Thursday, big deal. And on the daily, if we can close above last week's high, sitting at, or sorry, I just pull up the Bitcoin one. If we can get above the high of 68.23, that's a big deal. I mean, there's really not a lot more I can say about, because that's really showing us then that the price action and the trading behavior of the participants is pointing towards a market moving up in value, as opposed to searching for a market for resistance to sell it. There is still plenty of selling going on, but not as much. And in fact, if we look at the Bitcoin shorts right now, Bitcoin shorts are continuing to fall. Oh, nice. Wow. Yeah, square of price and time. Square of price and time really acting as a... That is a pretty pretty steep drop. Lots of people covering there. But Ripple actually has some rising interest. It looks pretty weak, though. Taking a peek at Ripple real fast. It has found quite a bit of support inside of its arc. And probably, I mean, I thought we might get a little selling pressure back down to this 45, maybe to test the 45 line here, but that did not play out, which is fine. We'll see if that is an area that we would expect to see a little bit lower of a move, but I mean, this is just showing some nice support here. We could see another breakdown, but man, it's holding pretty nicely in here. There's a clear urge to keep it here, and it's not going to take a lot to break this up higher. The Ripple move, I really would love to see it not just break above that 54.80. Yeah, the shorts chart it's pretty bloody. Get back above the arc here, we should see a nice little move higher. You know, because we had this, I mean, it'd be weird for it to really sell off here. That would I think there's a lot of folks who missed the move. Well, I don't think, I know. We know that there's a lot of folks who missed the move, and now see it sitting around here. There's going to be more people coming in. I forgot what exchange it was, reported that the volume of new money has increased substantially over the last 30 days. Higher there. Cardano we did. Ethereum Classic, really not much to write about here. It's a good zone to look. There's quite a bit of volume right there on that 4-hour chart. It's a nice zone we're sitting in. The breakout area is very, I mean, we really don't even have to do anything except price action trade and look at this to see, we're really looking above the, probably like 12.15. Nice entry zone there. We'll see. But gosh, ZRX still moving. Holy cow, it did bust above that I have no idea what is behind the move other than this is a square of price and time, and Gann said when price and time are squared, trends do change and things happen. So, you know, this is really the only catalyst that we really needed to be aware of, and we were made aware of it, you know, beginning of the month or midpoint of the month, really. Is there? Yeah, I can take a look at that. ICX, definitely. Just wanted to see, is there any news thing that is causing some traders to step into ZRX? Goldman Sachs based Circle adds EOS, Stellar, OX, and QTUM. Did QTUM catch a bid too? I bet it did. See if Ripple's going to catch any bit of a bid. I mean, so Ripple's finding some support. The conversion, this is a hell of a cloud. Not a cloud, this is hell of price action. Jeez, look at that, was nuts. Almost to 80 cents. From 24 cents to 80 cents in 1, 2, 3, 4 days. That's crazy. 4-hour chart. Not looking the best, but not looking the worst either. Pretty much reflecting the flatness of the trade there. 1 hour. Yeah, 1 hour is below the cloud. There may be some further breakdown here. If this, I mean, this looks like a bear flag or a bear pennant forming here. I mean, if it gets down to like 50.93, I would expect it to go have a bit of a drop there. Check out Bitcoin. What are you doing here? Hourly doesn't look the best. The daily doesn't look the best, but the 4-hour actually looks okay still. I mean, nice to see support here on the baseline on the 4-hour. This is really nice to see. That'll be a good, I mean, if we hold off for another 10 minutes and we can close above the prior high, that's a good sign too. The volume's not bad. It is lower than the prior two, but it's still, I mean, that's pretty good volume for the time of day. Not really that freaked out about that. Ethereum. Dailies looking pretty nice there still. Yeah, looks okay. Hourlies could do pretty nice. You know, Mondays, like everywhere, like in Forex and futures, I mean, futures markets facing a little pressure because, except for the NASDAQ, tech, China trade stuff's really putting a lot of pressure on things, but I'm not really seeing anything else that's really overly worrisome right away. But anyways, it is 2:01. That is the time. Oh, by the way, this is the normal time of day during the week when you start to see things either drive up or drive down. So pay attention to those, to your positions, because this is after the lunch hours when things like to take advantage of low liquidity and lower participation. It's easier to move these markets this time of day. So anyways, I hope you guys all had a great weekend. I know we had a great week last week. I hope you guys have had a good Monday so far. Again, today's Monday. It's kind of a blah day. Generally on Tuesday and Wednesdays when we start to see some real movement in pretty much all the markets, but we'll definitely have some things to talk about tomorrow, I would expect. So in my opinion, this is until something were to confirm a continuation of the bear market, and that would involve Bitcoin closing, having a weekly close below 6,400 and something. This is right now, I believe this is a buy the dip kind of situation that we're in, which is always a little shaky to do right at the beginning of the transition of a bull move. But, you get into things early. That's where you make the most of the gains before the rest of the sheep jump on board. So anyways, that is it for me. I am off, and Forex Lens folks, I will speak with you tomorrow morning, and the rest of you, I will see you tomorrow afternoon. Please don't forget to like and subscribe and leave a nice positive comment or something. So that'd be great. Have a good day. Bye-bye.